The outlook adopted by most spiritual people nowadays is that religion was made to control you, to limit your consciousness and make you think that there's a God to submit to, when we ourselves are either God dividing his consciousness or just the universe experiencing itself. It's like you're just a soul having a human experience. So when you die, if your consciousness was high enough, you reincarnate back into the collective consciousness or something else higher in the astral plane. But if it was too low, you reincarnate back into the world, dependent on the life you've lived here. Like regardless, we still have a soul, but it's up to us to elevate our consciousness and save ourselves. Like there's no ultimate deity saving us. The latter idea presents the notion that God is pure energy, love itself, the ultimate consciousness, the core of existence, and that we must harness our connection back to him. When you truly reach enlightenment, you're more in line with him, more in line with the mother source. He's like a big radiant sphere of energy, and we're tiny specks of his energy. This idea of God definitely sits right with me, but I'm not sure if the idea of God being us is the truth. I feel like spirituality is realizing the divinity of your soul and being connected to it, and then realizing that there's a God to submit to. Following Islam and the spiritual side of hadiths has definitely given me a better realization of understanding and navigating the spiritual world. But it doesn't mean I agree with it from a philosophical standpoint, like why things are the way they are or why they should be the way they are. It's more or less just realizing the framework that I exist upon and choosing to pursue it. I definitely ascribe more to the spiritual community than the religious one. Spirituality is about making your soul speak louder. Navigating these mental and spiritual traps, achieving inner wisdom and dissolving your ego, experiencing this existence in peace, how you should experience it. People need to be on the same page to be a part of this community. Whereas religious people have a broader range of people that aren't exactly in touch with their soul. That's why things like praying and asking for forgiveness are very, very important. It offers a guide to navigate your soul and harness your connection back to God without having to be in touch with it. People who aren't in touch with their spiritual side don't have the inner intelligence to realize the traps, which is why religion, specifically Islam, is straight and consistent. It's a blanket statement for all of humanity. That's why I think spirituality combined with religion is the best combination and will truly advance your spiritual journey. Someone like Jesus, in my opinion, wasn't God himself, but a man who harnessed his divinity of his soul by diminishing his ego and transcending his desires, then submitting to God. Him telling others not to judge and defending a prostitute was extremely controversial but revolutionary for his time. He was embodying compassion. He showed that purity isn't determined by outward appearance or social standing, but the state of your soul. When he called out religions by saying, "Woe to you Pharisees, you make sure the outside of the cup is clean, but not the inside," he was talking to religious people who had no idea what it meant to be spiritual. He exposed the ego disguised as holiness and appearing virtuous while your heart is tainted by pride, hypocrisy, arrogance, and judgment. He was saying it's not enough to look pure, but you must become pure from within. He called out religious people who weren't in line with their soul. The people who only followed the framework but ignored the underlying themes of wisdom, compassion, empathy, and serenity. A combination of being in touch with your spirit and submitting to God still needs to be reinforced today, because many religious people now use their religion as an excuse to spread more hatred and discernment over an unrealized perception of their religion, making outsiders more skeptical of what it's really teaching. Regardless, praying or meditation are still very important and prevalent to spirituality, because you're harnessing your connection back to the ultimate consciousness, the source from which you were first set free. When I say religion, I'm talking about the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I believe there's a story to be told with the Abrahamic religion. The Islamic perspective states that the Torah and the Bible were divine revelations, but corrupted by man, and the Quran is the final message, with Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as the final messenger. That's why the Quran is preserved as the same Quran revealed 1,370 years ago, not changed or corrupted, and why all these religions are similar but differ in key factors. Before I was spiritual, I kind of disregarded religion completely as an effective but old-fashioned way of imposing order on society. I believed it was ultimately for the betterment of mankind, but that we're an evolving species that don't have to rely on what I saw as fairy tale, ancient beliefs with unnecessary strictness. It wasn't until I became spiritual, I started viewing these rules as not only a way to impose order, but also a way to navigate spiritual warfare. Spirituality is a concept that you have a soul, an eternal state of being, the core of our existence, that embodies peace, serenity, control, compassion, love, kindness, empathy, and morality, and that the human being is a vessel for this soul, and that we are internally designed to pursue it. This inner calling that already knows the way. All of these factors embody the pure cosmic energy that we call our soul, and things like ego and desire hide it from us. The ego is the false mask that hides us from our true selves. These aren't just concepts to help us make sense of this much sentience in an indifferent universe, yet they're things our minds are designed to pursue, vessels for our souls. There are also addictions and desires that have to be eradicated, lust, materialism, longing for power. These bind the soul to the physical world and corrupt us. So many evil things things done in the pursuit of money, desire, and power. It leads you away from the goodness of your soul and makes you worship the finite instead of the infinite. The biggest argument for this comes from the spiritual community, where most people are on the same page talking about consistent spiritual experiences and hearing their higher selves. The higher self is basically the peak of your subconscious. When all of the mental and spiritual distractions are clear, you can hear it. It's your spiritual essence, the most evolved version of you seeking your growth and prosperity. Your soul speaking directly to you, connected to a universal consciousness. It implies that there's a clear system behind our subconscious that promotes goodness, order, and serenity. People describe hearing it through meditation, lucid dreaming, and sleep paralysis, when the mind is awake but the body isn't. Many people who are able to maintain a decent balance of these factors talk about hearing the higher self and these consistent spiritual experiences. With all this being said, when you view religion in relation to the soul and what satisfies it, the strictness of religion seems like a guide for all to follow. Even the spiritual people, those who are in tune with their soul. Many people don't associate this with religion because divine consciousness and spirituality existed long before Abrahamic religions. Eastern philosophies like Hinduism and Buddhism predate them, and offer clear ideologies on achieving enlightenment and spiritual excellence. I do believe Islam offers the clearest way of understanding the spiritual world and navigating spiritual warfare, especially combined with these philosophies. But the reason why many people, including myself, find it hard to completely ascribe to these religions is justifying them philosophically. Questions like why suffering exists, why people are sent to hell for not believing, and why so many religious people seem out of touch with their soul, plague these religions with indifference. But spirituality says, regardless of these impossible questions, there is no doubt and inner calling, that we are not just flesh, but an eternal state of being, an energy that can't be destroyed, and that we have ways to pursue it and experience this inner world. A lot of us believe that religion offers false hope, that no one is coming to save us, and that we must save ourselves by elevating our consciousness. In doing so, we don't reincarnate back into this world. It's basically like atheism, but with acknowledgement of the metaphysical world. A lot of us believe that religion was just a colonization of this metaphysical world, associating false truths to it as a means to control people and indoctrinate people. From my personal perspective, I see Islam, specifically the spiritual side of it, as the best and most accurate framework for maintaining spiritual excellence and navigating spiritual warfare, especially because I've personally seen extreme and undeniable spiritual growth from ascribing to it. And I'm going to continue to see where it leads me. I believe that there is a core to this interconnected universe. And I think the strictness and discipline of Islam helps you be more in tune with this core. The orchestrator of existence, the creator of all of it. It's like regardless if it's true or not, the belief of an all-powerful deity that will send you to hell is supposed to force you to navigate the spiritual warfare, and in doing so, ascend your consciousness. And again, it seems like religious people, regardless of all of this insight, aren't able to be truly in touch with their souls, unlike the spiritual. But in my opinion, spiritual people seem to be wandering blindly with all this insight. Again, I believe that realizing the divinity of your soul through spirituality is good, as well as using this insight to submit to God, the mother source, is the ultimate goal. But there could be more to it. Who knows? It's undeniable that we're tapping into something, a higher power of some sort, so let's keep pursuing it and keep an open mind.